I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware that I recently picked up a Corvette C706, my actual dream car. And no, I'm not just saying that because I own the car, but if you've actually watched me for a while, you would know that this is my actual legit dream car. I think I'm at the point where I can confidently say that I wouldn't take any other car on this planet over a C706. That's just me though. And yeah, as I'm speaking to you, it's in my garage right now. But as someone who's relatively young, there's a couple things I started to realize as soon as I got this car. There's a lot of misconceptions to getting a car like this, especially at a young age. So for the young people who clicked on this video, even the people who aren't so young and are still looking to get their dream car pretty soon, I thought I'd make this video so you guys can understand it's not always gonna be what you thought or what you had in mind. Now obviously the good outweighs the bad. I do not regret purchasing this car one bit, but again, even though this car has brought me so much joy in the few weeks I've owned it, there's still certain things you should look out for if you plan on going this route. Getting your dream car at a young age, and not a lot of people are actually transparent about it. So might as well be that person, right? There's gonna be 5 things on this list, which each being more slightly inconvenient than the last, but enough with the talking. Let's just begin with the 5 harsh truths about getting your dream car. Number 5, the attention. Yes, a bright yellow sports car is the last thing you should get if you don't want attention. I understand, but attention is a double-edged sword, and I'm sure you can understand why that is. Yeah, ever since I got this car, I've gotten lots and lots of positive attention. I mean, every time I go to the gas station, I spark a conversation with a random person telling me how much they like the car. The other day, some guy walked up to me at Subway and gave me free merch. Not sure if he assumed I was a sort of celebrity because he saw the car, but he literally walked up to me and gave me his merch, free clothes. People let me merge before them way more often. Every time I drive past a group of kids and like families, they're like, rev it, rev it. And when I do, it makes their day. Yeah, there's definitely more positive attention when you get a car like this compared to the negative. But the negative attention you get will be more than you ever did. Ever since I got this car, especially as someone who's young, I've noticed a lot of envy with random people and people I'm even close with. I had a woman come up to me the other day after I parked far away in the parking lot, and mind you, I just did this because it was a busy parking lot. I did it so it'd be easier to pull out when I'm done shopping. I don't care about parking far away so I can avoid scratches and dings. I'm not that person. But back to the story. I parked far away from every car, and as I'm getting out, some middle-aged overweight lady pulls up in her Sienna and is like, "You're parking all the way over here like the car is even nice." And then she's like, "You're lucky I'm in a hurry because I would have made sure to key your car." What? I awkwardly laughed at it because I thought she was joking at the moment. But even just minding your business and not affecting anyone will bring negative attention to you. And as absurd that story is, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. I personally haven't gone in any trouble with the cops, but you can tell having a car like that won't make it any easier. People are more likely to be douchebags to you, insult you, cut you off, flip you off. Yeah, all this has happened to me simply because of the car I drive. So if you're one to get angry easily and have little self-control, this is something to look out for, because there's definitely gonna be a lot of instances where you're gonna be done dirty. Me personally, this doesn't bother me. I go on with my day as usual because I know all they want is a reaction from me. And if you give that reaction to them, only God knows what would happen next. So I just tend to ignore these people. So yeah, this is number 5 because it's a double-edged sword. But trust me when I say this, you're gonna get significantly more positive attention than the negative ones. But the negative ones are bound to happen. But next we have a problem that isn't exactly double-edged. And that is, you kinda wouldn't drive the car the way you thought you would. Now let me explain. Before I got the car, I was the type of guy that many of you watching this are right now. The people who think their life is gonna drastically change. Man, I'm gonna be flooring it every chance I get. I'm gonna put a Kong blower on the car. I'm gonna make it 2,000 horsepower. I'm gonna be flooring it at every light. Yeah, it's much easier to say stuff than actually do stuff when you have the car. But let me further elaborate, because this isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's even why I have it at 4. But before I had the car, every time I drove in a different car like the whole Honda, whenever I go down a back road, a highway, I start thinking to myself, man, when I get my Z06, I'm gonna be driving it like Max Verstappen down this road. Man, I'm gonna be hitting 160 with this much room in front of me. You wanna know a crazy fact? After the first week of owning my car, I would say about the second week of owning the car, I stopped driving it like a race car. Yeah, that first week was the week I got 6 miles per gallon. But now I could get 13 in the city and about 25 in the highway, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I stopped flooring it and going fast because it's just not as amusing as everyone thinks it is before they get the car. I mean, no matter how good anything is, we're going to get used used to it eventually, right? Don't get me wrong at all. Every time I do it, it still puts a fat smile on my face. But I'm just not as incentivized to do it anymore, you know? I tend to just drive the car normally now, unless like I'm on a cruise with a buddy of mine, recording a video, or just rare occasions. But when I'm by myself, I rarely drive the car different than I would drive my Honda Accord. I just cruise, listen to music, and just relax. When you get your dream car, you're going to realize you're not going to drive the car the way you had it in mind prior to getting it. But I think this one is mostly because of the fact that I daily the car. And yeah, I had some of you in my comments tell me not to daily my dream car because I'll eventually get tired of it. And in these few weeks or about a month that I've owned the car, I can kind of see where you guys are coming from. I'm not tired of it yet, but I can only imagine like 6 months or a year from now, after I've accelerated a million times, how I'd feel. Would I still feel the same way now? Not sure, I doubt it. But I did take that comment into consideration, and I plan on getting a cheaper, more reliable daily soon. Also, I can still get that fresh feeling every time I hop in the Z06. Speaking of feelings, the third thing you should know about getting your dream car is that you're a human being. And we as humans have this feeling that makes us to want more. Like you're never going to be satisfied. I'm sure this can be a me thing only, and it's not necessarily a bad trait to have at all. There's nothing wrong with wanting more and more for yourself, but when you finally get that car, you're going to enjoy it for sure. But sometimes you're gonna have those thoughts that fly into your head at random times. Those thoughts about what's next. I already got what I was working for, so what do I work for next? Maybe this is just a me problem, but I assume it's not. For people who get their dream car at a young age, I'm sure they all have the same mentality, that what's next mentality. The car was the goal, and the goal is what drives you to work hard. Once you accomplish that goal, you don't just want to relax and actually start slacking off. You're quick to think about another goal so you can work towards that as well. Whether that's modding the shit out of the car or just getting a much better car down the line. What I'm trying to say is, if you're anything like me, once that time comes and you actually get the car, don't think that all your problems are just gonna magically vanish and you can actually die in peace, because realistically the journey is just starting. Who knows, a year from now I could pop out in a 720S with this mindset. So again, it's not necessarily a bad thing if you got your dream car and it didn't satisfy that feeling, because really it's the journey that gives you pleasure at the end of the day. But that does bring me to my question for you guys. It's basic, but I actually want to know, what is your attainable dream car and what is your all-time dream car? It could both be the same thing. I mean, mine was, and here I am. And while you're down there, be sure to like and subscribe so I could get recommended to more people, so I could pay for my gas. And two, we have one that I'm sure many of you expected, and that is stress. Now, I'm not saying go buy a car that you can't afford. No, do not ever get a car that you can't comfortably afford. I'm not talking about the stress of not knowing when to pay the car, because that's on you. I mean the stress of knowing you're in that car finally. All of a sudden, you gotta be more careful with everything. You gotta worry about actually owning an expensive car. Like out of nowhere, you have this huge piece of food on your plate, and you never know when anything is gonna go wrong. Again, all this can be good, but there's always going to be a negative to this sort of thing, no matter how you put it. I can comfortably afford the car, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't slightly more stressed ever since I got this car. And the craziest part is I genuinely can't pinpoint where the stress is coming from. I kind of think it's more the fact that this is my first ever big purchase that I've ever made, so maybe it's that, but I can't really tell, honestly. Like every time I sit down and think, why am I even stressed? I realize there's no reason to be, and I just go back to being normal. I don't know, it's weird, but these are just things you should expect. I think the stress is just how big of a change and responsibility owning a car like this is. It's just like, let's say, I don't know, switching schools for instance. You know everything is going to be okay at the end, but the thought of the unknown kind of stresses you out. Like you get those tiny thoughts. Did I make the right choice? Should I have gotten something else? You know? It's just those little intrusive negative thoughts that cross your mind from time to time. And I'd be lying if I said it wasn't stressful. But it's just the late night thoughts. When you wake up in the bed and see the car in your driveway, all that is gonna be gone, trust me. Don't even get me started on when you sit inside the car. But all that aside, the number one thing I feel like you must know before getting your dream car is that the way you felt before having the car is gonna be the same way you feel after you get the car. You're gonna be the same person, but now with your dream car. Sure, when you're driving the car, you're gonna feel surreal, but as soon as you park it back at your house, you're gonna be back to being the same person you were 3 months ago. At the end of the day, it's just a material possession, and it won't change the person you are. That being said, live in the moment. I genuinely made this video because I know 95% of you guys watching this were just like me a few months ago, working hard to get their dream car. But I'm gonna leave it on this note. Getting your dream car is worth it. This is just a video to show things that you must know before you pull the trigger. But when I drop the positive things, you guys will for sure want to work hard towards your dream car. When I tell you these negatives compared to the positives are nothing, I mean they are nothing. Keep working hard, because the feeling of accomplishing something that you grinded so hard for is worth it. Take it easy, my friends, and see y'all next time.